In today's video, we're going to fill in a TTRPG tropes tier list made by Trollord Games. As soon as I saw this, I knew I had to do it. Follow along and share with me what you would rank things. As always, make sure you like this video and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks. This tier list is split into 5 categories. The first being greatest of all time, easy to love, I have some notes, highly variable, and belongs in jail. Some of these tropes are really going to annoy me, and I already know that there's going to be quite a few green, but let's just jump straight into it. We can do it from A to Z. We'll start with A, Amnesiac. I had a character recently who is an amnesiac, so it definitely doesn't belong in jail. But it's definitely not the greatest of all time. I'm probably going to put it mid-tier. I have some notes. I think it can be pretty good if it's done right. But I feel like it's used by either lazy players or lazy dungeon masters to not really do a lot of work for a player character. Or an NPC for that matter. And I think it definitely, is something that can go either way. Animal Companion. Oh, it's highly variable for me. I'm not a really big fan of animal companions. I feel like it's more work than it's worth to actually use them and run them. I do find them fun, especially in smaller groups, but when you've got like a party of 6, 7 or 8 players, having animal companions too, it's just a bit much, right? Also, it's like, as a DM, you can feel very you can feel like you don't really want to kill the pet, if that's easy to understand. Like, you don't want to be the guy who kills off the animal companion and makes everybody upset. So yeah, I mean, you've just got to be kind of careful with it. I might move that down to belongs in jail. Actually, I really don't know, but I think highly variable is fine for now. Body swapping. I haven't really done it often, and when I do it, it's very goofy. I don't really like it. I think it belongs in jail. I wouldn't do it. I don't really want my players doing stuff like that unless it's like a temporary mechanic. Burned village, dead parents. To be fair, I don't really get a lot of players who use this trope, but you do obviously hear horror stories about it, and it kind of goes with like edgelord really, in that it's definitely highly variable. It does kind of belong in jail too. I guess the further to the right it is, the more like the lower it is on this. So I'm definitely going to put it after Animal Companion. Corruption Arc. I fucking love Corruption Arcs. Dude, I don't know. Actually, it's in one of these. A lot of players don't want to do it because they want their characters to be good and pure and shit like that. But honestly, I really dig it when player characters have a corruption arc. I love it when NPCs have corruption arcs too, as long as it's not too obvious to the players and they don't just find out straight away and put a stop to it. I feel like it's more difficult to do in 5e when there's spells to remove things like curses and stuff like that. But if the corruption happens really naturally from a moral point of view, I think that can be really cool. Crossing the river. If any of my players are watching, they're going to be shouting at me to put it in greatest of all time. I have rivers be really, really difficult in my campaign, and my parties dread having to cross a fast-moving river. I'm going to put it in. I don't know. I'm going to put it quite low. I think I'm going to put it in. I have some notes, but I'm going to put it at the top because I think it could be really cool. But in a game where you're fighting against dragons and demons and devils and angels and shit like that, crossing a river really probably shouldn't be that challenging. But in my games, I like things to be more low fantasy. I like things to be more grounded in reality, more logical. And the idea of like traveling a mountain, going up a mountain or crossing a river, the idea of that being treacherous, yeah, it's pretty good. Driven by revenge. That is, dude, am I an edgelord? I think I might be an edgelord. Like, I mean, it's great. I love that, especially when they start doing things that they wouldn't have originally done because they are so vengeful. Like those moral qualms really kind of are brought up. They stop being as lawful. They start being more chaotic. I think that players and NPCs, I think characters should have alignment changes during campaigns, and I don't actually mind the idea of magical items changing your alignment too, as long as the players are like, you know, have agreed to that in like session 0, or just okay with that in general. It really depends on the kind of players you're playing with. Edgelord. See, I don't necessarily think Corruption Arc and Driven by Revenge are edgelords, because I feel like both of those things have happened because of the direction of the campaign. Unless the idea is that they start off being driven by revenge, or start off with the Corruption Act, which I wouldn't really like. That might lower them to, I have some notes. But I don't really like characters that are just edgelords. I do believe it belongs in jail. It's okay to be a bit edgy. I mean, every character is a bit edgy, but just going out of your way to be Strider, sitting in the corner, you know, not wanting to roleplay, not wanting to work together, wanting to be like a solo character in a party. I don't really fuck with it. I don't like it. Escape from Prison. Dude, it's so good when it's done right, but when it's not done right, it's bad, right? So I'm going to put it in the top of I Have Some Notes. I might put it at the bottom of Easy to Love. We'll see a little bit later. But I love Escape from Prison as long as it's done right. It can be really slow. It can be really boring. It can be really, like, deadly. I feel like you have to have a good balance. But I've done it right before, and I've seen other people do it right too. It is possible. Fate and Destiny. See, I love Fate and Destiny. I do it all the time. I have, like, characters turn out to be the lost long child of an ancient king or something like that, and they were fated to do what they are doing. It's easy to love. It really is. Probably at the top of there for now. I really do like Fate and Destiny. Not for every character, but certain characters can have like a fate or a destiny or something. It's cool. Found Family. Is that the idea of like the party being a family? Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'd probably put it like maybe here. I'm not really going to go into much conversation about that. If it's something different, let me know. But yeah, I mean, finding a new family, aka the party. Yeah, it's fine. Grumpy / Sunshine, so a grumpy character with a sunshine character. I mean, that sounds more like an anime trope than a... And I don't really watch anime, unfortunately, for some of you. But I mean, I don't really care, like, about it, to be honest. I just put it there, you know, whatever. Like, doesn't really matter. Guild Hall, is that the idea of, like, a campaign starting off in a guild hall, or, like, centered around a guild hall? Yeah, I think it's highly variable. I feel like it's a bit overdone. It's a bit like a meeting in a tavern. I don't necessarily mind. And that's actually at the end. I can see that at the end. But it I don't know. I don't like the idea of like characters being committed to a guild straight away. I'd rather characters join guilds as the campaign progresses and have a bit more choice. So I'm actually gonna put it in highly variable right at the bottom. Hidden backstory. I definitely have some notes about this. It can be good. It can be cool to reveal it. I feel like it's very... Most of the time it's not done right. You know? I don't think that a lot of characters... Sometimes they reveal their backstory too soon. Or it's just not revealed right. And sometimes, you know, if they're hiding stuff that is bad, it could cause conflict. So, definitely something that is... Oh, you know what? It is highly variable. I'm going to move it down. Horny Bard. To be honest, like, the way I see bards is that bards should be musicians. They should be traveling the land, telling stories. So, like, storytellers. I think storytellers more than musicians, and the idea of a bard just going around being horny, it just doesn't appeal to me. So, highly variable, probably belongs in jail, doesn't really appeal to me. Just a weird little guy. I don't allow goblins in my campaigns, because my campaigns are based with some sort of verisimilitude, and I think that goblins and orcs and stuff like that, I think they should just be monsters. I don't think people should be playing as them, because it humanizes them, and I think we should have monsters and villains that we can fight against. And goblins historically have been a very good enemy, a good monster for parties. So I'll put it at the end of highly variable because I have had NPC goblins that have been really fun for the players to interact with. But they're very, very stupid and very arbitrary with how they behave and what they do. Kidnapped family belongs in jail, man. Because you're making the story about yourself, and we're playing team games, right? We're playing a game as a group. So definitely don't like that. Belongs in jail. Knight in sour armor. Don't know what that mean. Does that mean that he's like a bitter prick? Because I know that the Hound was a bit of a prick. I mean, I do it sometimes. You know, like I like having knights that are sour and toxic. They make for good opponents for like the fighters and the paladins of my party to duel against. So you know, I have some notes. Mommy, daddy issues. You're going to fucking jail, man. And I haven't even really arranged that belongs in jail yet. We'll figure it out in a bit. I might move things around. It could be funny. It could be funny, but I don't know. We'll put it there for now. Murder hobo definitely belongs in jail. To be fair, I don't really have experience with murder hobos. I don't know why. I guess people just respect my games when they join. It's been very rare that my players will just go around killing people, and when they have killed people, there's usually repercussions, like, you know, they get a bounty on their head, people start hunting them, stuff like that. So, you know, they're pretty careful. NPC betrayal, absolutely love it. I love NPC betrayals. I don't do it too often, but when I do, boy, did a party fucking react. It is so good, especially when it's a character that they didn't think was going to betray them, and then, you know, they just pull the wool from the party's eyes, and especially if they can like take down one of the PCs or another NPC, do something that is just kind of game changing, you know, like that immediately makes them go from being a good character to a really bad character, or vice versa, to be honest, right? Going from being a villain to a good guy. That's really cool. NPC romance. I'm going to put that like at the end of highly variable. I think it's okay, and I don't mind it. I typically play with people who aren't really interested in that, and the stories and the experiences that I've had of people that have wanted NPC romances have been a bit weird about it. So it is highly variable whether it's actually a good thing or a bad thing, but usually it's a bad thing. Party betrayal. So NPC betrayal, party betrayal. So that's a character, a player character betraying another player character. It's gonna have to be highly variable. It can be okay, but I do try and avoid PvP in my game, and I'm gonna put that PvP in as well. Sometimes it can just be a real mess, to be honest. And I'm gonna put player romance in highly variable too. I've had a couple of players who've had a romance in the past. It always felt a little bit weird, to be honest. A bit awkward at times. I've never really played with anybody who was like a professional actor, so it's you wonder whether the people who were trying it at my table were doing it because it was an interesting idea, or because they kind of had a crush on that person. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Bit weird. Redemption arc, love it. Greatest of all time. I mean, corruption arc, redemption arc, they honestly could both be in greatest. I don't really know. I'm putting it after NPC betrayal because I just think NPC betrayals are so cool, but redemption arcs are just fantastic. Especially for the character that it represents in Avatar. I forget what his name was, but Fire Nation Prince Goku? Guys, stop. I'm going to stop before I embarrass myself anymore. But really, really good story. Reluctant hero. It can be cool, but it's very rare that you actually have somebody who wants to be a reluctant hero. If you're playing a system that starts off at level 0, that makes for a great reluctant hero, in my opinion. But I feel like that trope, it wears off quickly and begins to get kind of annoying. So actually, no, I'm going to put it in highly variable. At the end, we'll just rearrange it at some point. romancing the BBG. It's never happened before. I had one group in the past, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, where they romanced a witch. Or one of the characters did. They managed to like distract her whilst the rest of the party freed the people that were trapped in her lair. And it was pretty good. It was actually a pretty fucking good story. I'd say I have some notes, but it's good. It's very good. I definitely have some notes on romancing the BBG. It can definitely work. Seeing each other's memories. Yeah, I have some notes for that. It could be quite cool if you're playing, like in my campaign, elves are able to go into trances, and whilst in a trance, they're able to like see memories of their ancestors, of other characters and things in the world. You know, elves are quite supernatural. So I definitely like that, and I have some notes. Surprisingly normal backstory. Easy to love. Yeah, I love it a lot. I wish more players would do it. Just be a farmer or a guild artisan. You know, the reason for becoming an adventurer, that is where we can be interesting. But even that can be a normal backstory. You know, you were laid off. Your farm has blight. Your guild has shut down. You've been exiled from your community because you took a shit out in public. Like, yeah, easy to love. Easy, well, not that, but easy to, not surprisingly normal backstories. Tavern explodes. Never happened to me before. I've never done it either. I've had combats take place in taverns, but if I'm honest, I think it belongs in jail. Time travel. Highly variable. Never done it before. I'd want to do it though. Could be really interesting. Total party kill. I mean, I have some notes. I definitely have some notes. It's a difficult one because I do enjoy TPKs because it teaches the players that they can't just do whatever they want and there will never be a consequence, right? Sometimes there's always going to be a risk of a TPK in dangerous situations. Don't know if it's easy to love though, because you don't want it happening consistently, constantly. Players will get bored very quickly, but I have some notes. Veteran adventurer belongs in jail. I don't like the idea that players can just join and say, well, my character is a veteran adventurer, unless you're like coming in at a higher level. I guess it is highly variable then, actually. But from my point of view, you should be starting the game at level 1 or level 0, depending on the system that you're playing. And your characters shouldn't be adventurers. They should be becoming adventurers, okay? Anybody who tells you different, that's their opinion, but they're wrong. The whole point of playing these games is for your characters to become these veterans over time. So the idea of starting off at 1 just seems a bit silly. And also, if you're a veteran adventurer, you're more likely to be asking the DM, well, my character is a veteran. Wouldn't she know what to do in this situation? And I just hate those kind of questions as a dungeon master. You meet in a tavern. You know what? It is easy to love. I do enjoy it more than some of the other ones that we have here, like Escape from Prison. It's fine. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I think it's a good way to start a campaign. It isn't the best way. Yeah, you know what? Let's move up Escape from Prison. We're gonna move that up, and this is what we've got. So let's go through it. Let's rearrange some things, and figure out where we're at. So let's start off with Greatest of All Time. So we've got NPC Betrayal. Yeah, I'm happy for that to stay there. For Redemption Arc, I think I'm actually gonna move that in front. Have that be top slot. And I'm going to move Corruption Arc up as well. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I don't know if I want to have them alongside each other, because they're both really good. But NPC Betrayals are just so good as well. Oh, man. This is a real toss-up. I think Corruption Arc might be my favourite, actually. Because you don't see it happen very often, but when players really go for it, it can be so exciting, so interesting, especially if they're being corrupt. Look at that, it's very slow, and it's a very slow build. I did have one campaign where a sorcerer called Scala, over the course of about 9 months of play, became more and more corrupted, and it led to some of the best roleplay between my players that I've ever seen. Like them literally getting upset at each other, like tears flowing down their faces, because they were worried about the behavior of one of their characters, about how he was changing, how it seemed like he was becoming a puppet to a dark god, and they were trying to help him fight through it because he had like a magical artifact that he had to wear, kind of similar to how Frodo had the ring, and it was like really fucking him up. It's kind of similar to that. And it was just really dramatic, really cool. So yeah, I love corruption arcs. I think that is the best way to do a corruption arc, by the way, is give one of your players a magical item that has a curse that corrupts them, but it's a really good magical item, and maybe it's like an artifact that they need to like finish the story, kind of like the Lord of the Rings. It could be a really cool way to play, in my opinion. Fate Destiny. I'm going to put it in Easy to Love right at the top, but I'm just seeing if there's any of the others that we can move to greatest of all time. Driven by Revenge. No, I'm quite happy with that, so let's just rearrange these. I think we're going to put this at the top. Fate Destiny. Escape from Prison. You meet in a tavern, and surprisingly normal backstory. Found Family. I'm going to put that right at the back because I just don't... I have notes on it. I love it when it happens, when the players get really like comfortable with each other. Or does it mean like finding like the family like that may have gone missing, like have been kidnapped? Either way, I think I have some notes. I don't think it's too big of a deal, but Crossing the River is... You know what? It is easy to love, isn't it? It's easy to love. Amnesiac, yeah, Knight in Sailor Armor. Romancing the BBG, we're going to put that at top because I've done it before and it's really funny. I love seeing each other's memories as well. Especially good when, like, for example, if it's like a magical tree that's been here for hundreds of years and the elf can touch the tree and see through its leaves and maybe through its face, if it's one of those like weirwood trees or whatever. Those trees of faces, or Ent, you know, if we're thinking about like magical trees. Yeah, it's super sick. Super cool. Amnesiac, Total Party Kill. Yeah, I'm going to keep it like that. I think I'm quite happy with that. Party Betrayal, PvP, Hidden Backstory. I'm just looking to rearrange some of these, maybe. You know what, Veteran Adventure can belong in jail. I don't think there's any situation where that is a positive unless it is in a higher level game. But for the purpose of this, I'm thinking about low level. I'm thinking about starting a game. I'm thinking about the first few levels. Honestly, this is the only thing you should only be doing this if you're coming in like past level 5. Most campaigns you pretend before level 5. So, Burn Village Dead Parents. I'm going to move that a little bit further up because I actually do think that's quite cool. Animal Companion, I think is fine at being a bit further up. Mommy Daddy Issues, it is quite funny. I've done it before. I'm just kind of rearranging these. Time travel is something that I think is highly variable, but I would, I'm just speaking from a lack of experience, really. I would like to do it, so I'm going to have that be a bit higher up. Then we have Party Betrayal, PvP. Yeah, PvP, you guys might think it's higher, some of you might think it's lower. I kind of like where it is. I think it is highly variable because some players might be really unhappy about losing a character, but it could be really cool and really dramatic. And PvP can be just rolling dice against each other for like insight checks and stuff like that. So there's all sorts of PvP really, in my opinion. Yeah, the romances are at the end. I'm really not a fan of romances. But I've kept just a weird guy and highly variable because I imagine it doesn't just have to be like goblins. It could be like a weird ass gnome wizard. And actually, I told my IRL group, my friends, that when I am next able to be a player, because I'm currently running at the moment, I'm going to play a gnome wizard with a big pointy hat. I don't know if you guys have seen the viral like TikToks and reels of like the guy running around shops and he's like a little gnome. And he's got like a big pointy hat on, but I totally want to play a character like that. It just sounds really funny. And yeah, Reluctant Hero at the end. It's I think that's where it's got to be really. I put Guildhall quite low in comparison to You Meet in a Tavern, and I think I just don't like how controlling starting off in a Guildhall is. Especially if you're a part of that guild, like you're a part of the Adventurers Guild. I don't like it at all. No, 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 definitely not. I had a cool like Heroes Guild in one of my campaigns, but you actually had to be a hero to join, and that gave the party like something to work towards, which was really cool. So that's one way I would do it, but not just like starting off. Highly variable, right? So veteran adventurer, probably going to put that near the back. Yeah, no, I'll keep it. Some of these ones are really shocking. So, and if the best is supposed to be first, like the best of this and the worst, then I need to really consider my options. Edgelords can be funny, like in a really like. See, I have a really like dry sense of humor. So if people do things like in a really dumb way, or if they're being like really autistic about something, I can find that quite funny sometimes. So Edgelord, yeah, kidnap families, fine. Horny Bard, it can be funny. It does belong in jail, but Murder Hobo is probably going to be last. I haven't really got a lot of experience with it, but no, Tavern Explodes sounds really silly. Body swapping I don't like. Yeah, these three can all fuck off. Alright, cool. Guys, this is my tier list for the tropes. If you want to do this yourself, there'll be a link to this tier maker in the description. You can actually send your version of this on my Discord if you want to show myself and the rest of my community what you guys think. You can also just like go through. I'm going to be leaving something in the description with each of the categories and the results, and you guys can actually just make a response to this YouTube video in the comment section of what you would rank each of these. Let me know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time on Loki's Lair. Until then.